Tassin aren't playing, even though the Orioles aren't in spring training yet. All eyes on the Capitals, all eyes on the Terps, and, of course, all eyes on the Wizards now as they continue to win as well. This is a pretty good little celebration, Ed Frankovic, right? Because on a Monday night, you got the Caps and the Wizards playing. On a Tuesday night, you got the Terps and the Caps and the Wizards all playing on the same night. And really, as we get up on a Super Bowl where a lot of us feel like the Patriots might be winning, locally at least, there's some things that sort of captivate your eyes. And the Capitals are probably playing, I know we said this last year, the best hockey that they have played in the history of the franchise right now.
Yeah, I think this team's actually better than last year. I think the moves they made that we've chronicled all season with getting Lars Eller and Brett Connolly coming in to stabilize the bottom six are really reaping dividends now. And Monday night, that line produced 2 more goals again. And, Burakovsky didn't get the first goal. Carolina actually scored first and had a couple chances to go up 2-0, and then it was all Capitals after that. And I just love the way this team is balanced now. They don't have to rely on the Ovechkin line. They don't have to rely on, a second line carrying them. It's the third and the fourth are doing their jobs. They got scoring from all 3 lines, and the fourth line did a great job on the penalty kill and nearly scored a few times themselves. So put some great goaltending in there, and you get a 6-1 rout. It was kind of a laugher in the third period.
There have been various points where Orlov has not been what they've needed him to be, and I think it's a whole different thing with offensive defensemen in general. And, what Mike Green's role used to be on the team. Some thoughts about Orlov, because we're certainly noticing him and noticing Justin Williams and noticing at various points Burakovsky. We always notice Beagle. But as far as guys, sort of mixing it up, becoming a part of this thing more, Dmitry Orlov is, he's picked his game up in 2017.
Well, I think it's a perfect time to talk about that guy because he's a big reason or a big factor, if you will, in how they're going to do in the spring. If they're going to hold on to this guy and go with this roster and not make changes, and let's be honest, we're about a little over a month from the trading deadline, and there's a lot of different factors involved in the trading deadline this year because you got this Vegas team coming in, and you got people you can expose, people you can't, and you don't really want to trade prospects because these guys you can protect from the expansion draft. So Dmitry Orlov is really an important player. He's in the last year of his contract. The Capitals really needed somebody to step. They needed another defenseman. They needed somebody to step up and play these top 4 minutes. And you can argue whether he's top 4 or not. And I look at him and Brooks Orpik as it's kind of 4A and 4B because of the roles they play. Because Orpik's such a good penalty killer, and that's not Orlov's specialty. But Orlov has a great shot, and we got to see it on Tuesday night. And he unleashed it and got 2 goals. He had a game-tying goal off a great feed from Kuznetsov, and then the third goal. He scores with Lars Eller screening in front. So, but I like the way he's played in his own zone. He's really improved there. He is not the best backward skater. If there is a weakness to his game, it's his ability to turn and move backwards and be able to keep up with the rush. I mean, we've seen Sidney Crosby take him inside and out, Connor McDavid, but those are elite players, and you're going to get beat by those guys at times. But I like the way he's improved in his own zone. He's making smarter decisions with the puck. And he's jumping up in the play. And the Capitals have done a great job of bringing offense from their defense up and down the lineup. This streak has coincided with a lot of goals coming from the defense. And then even when they jump up and they're making mistakes, what they're doing so well is they're back checking. So they're playing the system extremely well right now.
But it's been such a, the only thing I can say about it other than the sort of weird 8-7 game is the goaltending's been good, right? I mean, other than the Toronto game that I was at a couple of weeks ago where Holtby got pulled and Grubauer, and they, sort of pulled it out of their hat in the end. Same thing with the Pittsburgh game. They've pulled a couple of these out of their hat, kind of maybe the way the Terps did, back in November, December. But by and large, when they walk on the ice, they're the best team on the planet right now, and they have a goaltender that has incredible confidence right now, even though he's had his bell rung a couple of times. You know what I mean? Like, he's come out and just got knocked out of the cage twice this month, and yet we're still sitting here saying, on any given night, you can't get one past him,
Yeah, he faced 26 shots on Monday night, and his save percentage is right around 930, which is really high. Usually around, you think 920 is good in this league these days, and he's 930. And a lot of that has to do, don't get me wrong, he's the elite goalie. I think he's playing as well as any goalie in the league. And Grubauer's been right there too. Listen, he's going to go on Tuesday night in Ottawa here. I hope he's going to get the night off. But the big thing is when the Capitals play their system and they don't give up the odd man rushes, and they're keeping, and they do a great job of keeping the opponent to the outside. Carolina really had a hard time getting to the net on Monday night, and the Capitals, they got there. I mean, Alan May talks about this all the time. I write about it all the time. You and I have talked about it all the time. The teams that get to the net are the ones scoring the goals, and the teams that keep the other team away from their net allow their goalies to see the shot and make the saves. And now Holtby is seeing a lot of the shots, and then there's you're counting on him for those 3 to 5 plays where you break down and your defense just isn't there for him to make the save, and he's doing that. Now Monday night, there are people in Carolina not happy with Cam Ward. You tell me which of those 6 goals he's going to stop, because he didn't see hardly any of them.
Well, the other part of this, I think, for this year's team, and Trotz talks so much about it. If you go out and listen to our work with him last year when he joined us up at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bel Air, was we need the bottom part of the roster to produce. And the third and fourth lines are not out there just taking time off the clock, waiting for Ovechkin to get back out on the ice for the next shift that's probably 15 or 20 seconds too long every time, all year long. That's where we were 5 years ago, 6 years ago. That's where we were when this team was, just a big pinball game, right? I mean, they didn't play any defense 5, 6 years ago. That has all changed under Barry Trotz, but more than that, it's not just the responsible nature of the third and fourth lines. There's an adage in hockey, right? We call it a checking line, right? I mean, this team doesn't have a checking line. This team has solid two-way lines all the way through. I mean, hell, even Ovechkin plays defense now, right? And has for a couple of years.
I've never seen Ovi backcheck better than he's doing this year. He just continues to improve that part of the game. If there's one part of his game that he can get better in, it's in when the puck is in his own zone and he's got to cover that right point. That's the one area, that's the weakness, the biggest weakness of his game is his ability to stay with a right defender and be able to get the puck from him and get it back out. There's several times where they get trapped in his zone because that's his weakness. But he does so many other things well in his game, and his back checking is something under Adam Oates he did not do well. You bring Barry Trotz in here, Lane Lambert, the assistant coach, and everybody on this team back checks. And when you see guys like Oshie and Beagle and Williams, you and I talk about these three all the time, doing that, it's infectious. Other guys do it. They watch the film the next day. They're all looking at that film, and they're all seeing, wow, that guy's back checking.
Well, they've all got their nose in there, and Wilson is a better, more disruptive player than just being a guy that's out there to be a goon, quite frankly.
Yeah, he's had 2 fights this year, maybe 3. The game has completely changed. Wilson has transformed his game. You'd like to see some more offense from him, but his penalty killing phenomenal. Those 3 guys on the fourth line, Jay Beagle, Daniel Winnick, and Tom Wilson. And we haven't talked about Winnick enough. I thought Winnick was outstanding on Monday night. There was one PK shift where he made 3 super plays to clear the puck. And Carolina, another penalty, didn't even get a shot off. Lars Eller lays out, blocks. He takes one in the back when it's 3-1. Those guys on the bottom 6 are doing everything they got to do to just sacrifice themselves.
Well, they had a goon game on Saturday night, right? I mean, that thing was a goon game until the Capitals came. I mean, talk about Saturday night. It was incredible what they did down in Dallas to sort of exorcise the demons of that franchise. They're doing some really special things here this month. As I wrote out in the game on Monday night, it's fun being a Caps fan right now, Eddie. It really is.
Yeah, I saw that out on Facebook and Twitter. People should definitely follow you. You're right on the pulse of everything, and it is a lot of fun. And Saturday night, that's right, we haven't talked about that. But Dallas played with an edge. They're not happy. Dallas is playing horrible hockey right now. Lindy Ruff is a coach that's been around for a long time. He's old school, and he just wasn't happy, and his team knew that, and they were trying to stir it up with the Caps and start a couple of fights. There were 2 fights within 3 seconds. And the Caps haven't had a fight in over a month. So that was on Dallas. But, Wilson broke the guy's nose, and Winnick, got in a nice little scrap there right off the face-off. And Dallas was trying to say, look, you're not going to come in here and tic-tac-toe us and beat us. And, well, in the end, the Capitals came back and found Capitals didn't have anywhere near their A game on Saturday night. They found a way to come back, a couple power play goals, and then Beagle scores the winner in overtime. So this team's just getting contributions from everybody, and they're spreading the minutes around. You look at Monday night's ice time. The leader was Matt Niskanen with 22 minutes. I dare you to find another team in the league that regularly has a leading ice time defender below 24 minutes consistently, and that's the Washington Capitals because they're so deep. They're playing smart. He's rationing the minutes for the playoffs. Ovechkin played 16 minutes and change on Monday night. I mean, those 2-3 minutes are going to add up and hopefully pay off dividend-wise in the spring while the other teams are tired.
Ed Frankovic joining us here. He is, of course, our Caps historian and insider. They were in D.C. on Monday, now in Ottawa from one capital to another. The Caps travel up to play the Senators. This week, it's a little bit of a change in the schedule, and obviously this sort of quick all-star weekend thing going on with Ovechkin happening, but they go to Ottawa and they go to New Jersey. And look, man, there are no more sacrificial games for this team, right? Like, they're literally playing hockey the way the Golden State Warriors play basketball, which is, we're going to win tonight. We're going to come in, and we're not going to put too much sweat into it, but we're going to put enough into it that you're going to know we're the better team tonight. We're going to break you down, and in the third period, if we're down by a goal or two, we're going to come out, we're going to press you, we're going to tie the game up, and then we're going to see you skate backwards in your own rink. And that's what they've been doing now for the better part of 6 weeks, right, Ed? I mean, if you really want to go backwards on this thing, it's been an unprecedented run. I'm waiting for sort of the stumble and the crappy game. Well, dude, they played crappy against Dallas. They won. They played crappy against Pittsburgh and lost in overtime 8-7. They played crappy against the Toronto Maple Leafs a couple of times this year, and they still found a way to win. And then on top of that, they just go out and they're win a game 6-0 and 5-0 and 6-1. Pretty routinely at this point, and really sort of running the score up in some ways. I mean, I didn't think they even cared about the President's Trophy. It was written, it was talked about by you and I in October, November. It doesn't matter how many points they have. Well, boy, the red light has gone on. That's all I can say.
Well, they have 14 games in a row where they haven't lost in regulation now. This is one off the franchise record. And I'm with you. I keep waiting. When's that bad game going to come? And I really thought Monday night against Carolina could have been it because they had the dads on the dad's trip and those videos. You have to go out and watch those videos of Lars Johansson, Marcus' dad dancing because it's priceless. I mean, I'm laughing. And then one of the coaching assistants, his father guaranteed 100 push-ups. A little Japanese guy, and he did 100 push-ups. They carried him on the shoulders like it was Rudy. I mean, these guys are tight. They really like each other, and it's easy to see why they're continuing to find ways to win because they just seem like they're having a lot of fun out there. And when you're having fun in sports, you're going to play well. And Tuesday night, this could be the game, where the shoe drops and they lose one because Ottawa's a really good team. They're very fast. The Capitals have played them twice now. They've been very close games, and Ottawa's fighting for their lives for the playoffs. The Capitals right now, I mean, the other thing is we talk about the President's Trophy. They've 14 games in a row. 14 games. They've got 26 points in the last 14 games. But they're only 2 up on Columbus and only 5 up on Pittsburgh. But both those teams have a game in hand. So you can lose on Tuesday night and not be in first. That's how crazy it is.
Well, how crazy it is when we get to April and May and everybody, the doubting, doubting doubters come. I was going to call them doubting Thomases, but that's sort of an old expression. I don't want to be an old fuddy-duddy here talking hockey with you, Ed, even though we are 2 old fuddy-duddies talking hockey. But, they're going to see Columbus for 7 days. They're going to see Pittsburgh for 7 days, right? They're going to see Toronto or the Rangers or the Flyers. I mean, this is where we are. I think they're going to make the playoffs right now. How are they going to beat these other teams in April and May? Because it is wonderful that they look like the best team on earth in January. I don't know what that means in May, and none of us do. But they're playing at a level right now that really gives you hope. I mean, I'd rather have them looking like this than, quite frankly, that win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2, go to overtime. One thing I will say, and I won't say it too loud, is they're pretty healthy, right? I mean, right? I mean, for the most part. Carlson was standing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't had, Oshie missed 8 games, and Carlson's missed 4 in a row. And outside of that, you had an Oshie miss a game, and Niskanen miss a game, and an Eller miss a game. And that's not much. I mean, they've been fortunate there. There's no doubt about it. You haven't had that guy block a shot and get hurt really bad like Brooks Orpik did last season. So knock on wood, and I hope for that. The other thing is, I think the way Trotz manages the team in the minutes and the practice time has really helped as well. So you've got 2 big factors there, but you need the luck, and they certainly did not have it in the spring last year when Alzner had the groin issue and Holtby had the knee. They got to find a way to not have that happen. So you got to be hopeful, be lucky. I mean, that's the way it goes in sports. The teams that get healthy, get hot, and get on a run. In 2012, The Ravens got healthy, and they went on and they beat all the best teams and won the Super Bowl. So I think home ice matters. I would like to get that first place, but you're not going to fall on your sword for it by playing your top defenseman 26 minutes a night or the Ovechkin line 22 minutes a night. That doesn't make sense because home ice advantage in hockey is not as big as it is in like basketball. It's huge. Home ice is huge in basketball. It's big in football, but in hockey, the only thing you really get is last change these days because the defense's own face-off. The defender has to put his stick down first. It used to be you got an advantage on face-offs too, but they changed that rule.
Well, the energy in all the buildings is sort of similar, home or away. Like I don't know if you're really a hockey player out there on the ice, whether you hear it, feel it. In the course of the game, most of the rinks are kind of quiet, right? I mean, except when the momentum happens, when you start giving up goals and the goalie gets shook. But by and large, playoff hockey has the same energy in every building. I was up in Philadelphia. It didn't feel any more or less intimidating than Washington. It was just loud, quite frankly.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. The only thing that is an advantage is the last change. You can get the matchups, but the good teams find ways to get around that, and you get in a rhythm, and good coaches can figure out a way to change maybe after a face-off and get the matchup they want. So that's about the only advantage is the matchup, but it is nice to have the home ice, but you're not going to go busting your top players to do it. And you got a lot of teams that are they're going to scratch and claw and going to play guys a lot of minutes just to get in. And they should be tired at the end, and that's you want to get an opponent like that in the first round. The thing I really like about this Capitals team that's different than last year is just the way they're playing. They're going to the net a lot more. They've come up with some things in their system where they've worked the puck around in the offensive zone, and what they're doing is the shots are coming, whether it's from the point or down low. It just seems like there's always somebody there in front of the net. It's been a major change since that Devils game at the start of the streak when they had 45 shots on net or so, and they got one goal because nobody went to the net. Everybody's skating around on the outside. It's almost like they made a point of it. Okay, it's the start of the year. Let's, like Pittsburgh did last year. You go back and you look at the stats. The Penguins started picking their game up on January 1st last season, and they were the best team in the league from then on. Yes, the Capitals had the best record for the whole 6 months, but from January 1 on, it was the Penguins. Well, right now it's the Capitals. We'll see if they can keep that up because the Penguins and the Blue Jackets and even the Rangers just keep winning too when you look at the standings.
He is Ed Frankovic. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at Ed Frankovic, and, of course, on game nights at WNST.net. Of course, Ottawa up on Tuesday night, and then New Jersey on Thursday, and then a weekend of all-star stuff. We'll hear more from Ed later on in the week as this incredible run of the Caps continues. The Wizards are on fire. They won on Monday night, and, of course, the Terps looking to take out Rutgers as well. And we got a pretty busy week here for not having any Ravens football or Orioles baseball. And, of course, we're headed to Houston for Super Bowl 51 next week, and we're selling the heck out of this London trip. If you want to go to London with the Ravens, we've got an incredible trip on sale now, September 24th. All the details are up. I'm working even harder this week on getting all the parties together and getting it all ironed out, but you can certainly send me an email, nasty@WNST.net. We'll help you with that as well. We're out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel, and we're looking forward to getting out to Houston next week and doing some great radio for you guys next week as well as out on our live streams on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Nestor. This is WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.